show. My name is Alice Trevorrow. I'm a spiritual medium and psychic, and I'm also the founder and host of this show. I'm absolutely delighted. Whether I don't know whether it's morning, evening, wherever you are, but I'm delighted to actually have my guest. I'm quite excited about this and sharing who I have and the information that will be getting brought forward to you, the listeners. So sit down, relax, and have a cuppa, and let's listen to my little chat with Yal. Is it Yal Aina? Am I pronouncing that correct there?
No one pronounced it right, but it's okay. It's Yael.
Yeah, Yale. Is that it?
Never mind. No one says it all correctly.
Yale. It's the same as my name as well. My second name. I get tomorrow. I get all sorts of different names on it. Okay. Okay. So Yal. I will just describe a little bit about Yal. She's an author of Karma Healing and Block Your Life on the Soul Level. And she has been a healer for over 20 years. And she's also the creator of Karmic Constellation, which will be very interesting to find out a little bit more about that.
Hmm.
But Karmic Constellation is a therapy language, so we'll kind of find out a wee bit more about that from you. And it works with different aspects and dimensions of the soul. So Yale also studied at the Israeli School of Systemic Constellation and became a facilitator and teacher for family constellation. Then in 2017, she founded the Constellation Lab, and she's also authored many other books such as Spiritual Alchemy and The Divine Within. So there's a lot there. I don't know if I've said it all right, but if I've not, then you can correct me just now. So
Well, actually, everything is in my website, so people can just go and
yeah,
say it. And you said the important stuff, right?
that's fine. That's fine. Okay. So tell us a little bit about you. Okay. I know that you're doing all this, and I'm looking forward to having a chat about that. But how did you get into doing what you're actually doing? Is it Israel they actually stay just now? Is that correct?
Yeah, I was born and I live in Israel.
Okay.
And it's a great question because spirituality wasn't in my mindset, the way I was raised. And I actually wanted to be an organizational consultant. So I did my BA in psychology and management, and I went to work in a consulting company. And doing that, I realized really quick, I realized that that's not for me. It's like, that's not the life I want to live. But I had no clue what life do I want to live. And that brought me into the spiritual path. And I found myself doing all kinds of therapy. And one of them was energetic healing. And I could feel after 3 sessions that I am acting different. And for me, I am a result oriented person. So it wasn't like something like, oh, it's nice feeling the energy. It was like, oh, I'm acting different. And it was like mind blowing. After lots of years of psychology therapy, that nothing has shifted within me. It was like 3 sessions and I'm acting different. And then I had this, I don't know if you can call it epiphany, awakening moment, but like energy came out of my hands one night for 3 nights. And for me, it was a message, this is the path, like doing energetic healing. So I went on studying energetic healing, and I'm doing that for the last 20 years. And then, when you're in the path, things are open to you and you start to learn this and that and all kinds of other modalities. And eventually, 8 years ago, I came across Family Constellation, and I fell in love with it. It was like coming back home. Like I knew the language, I was just lacking the practice.
Yeah.
And the same happened to me when going to study somatic experiencing. So like I'm also a trauma therapist or trauma oriented therapist. And it was the same. Like I knew the language, I needed like fine tuning. And doing that, like Family Constellation is about the root of our problem is in it's a long word, transgenerational thing that happened to us. This is what Family Constellations speak about. Like whatever we have, it's not you and me, it's something in the past that happened either to our parents, our grandparents, our great grandparents, and so on. And it's about representing. So, and it's not so like, it has an esoteric element within it, but not really.
No.
And I was wondering, can we also represent esoteric stuff?
Yeah.
Like our soul, like soul lessons, like the Akashic records. Can we represent them? Like representing is bringing an object. I work with film, bringing an object. So if this object represents, let's say, the Akashic records, if I'm going to put my hand on it, can I become my Akashic records or your Akashic records? And I found out that yes. And this is how karmic constellation have developed, because it's not something I thought I will develop, it just I experiment.
Yeah. 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 Touching on the Akashic records as well, it's funny, I've been quite drawn to the Akashic records, but have never done anything with it. Um, did you actually do any courses with that, or did you go into that as well as what you're doing before you stepped into what the karmic constellation part of it?
So most of the channelers or psychics, what they're doing is reading from the Akashic records. And when I begin my energetic work, also start channeling. And I did a lot of meditation, and I found myself coming back to the Akashic records again and again. But it was more about like reading and getting information, and less about practical changes. It's like, okay, so I understand that this thing in my life now happens because this and that happened in previous incarnation. Great, but how can I change this? Like, understanding doesn't shift anything for me.
Yeah.
So for me, I was looking not for the readings or the knowing, but for the energy shift. And so I was experimenting. Like no one taught me that I can go on an object and represent the Akashic records. It's something that came from me experimenting. And I haven't, actually, I never learned about the Akashic records. I was just not like in a formal study or something like that. But I was listening to, I don't know if you know him, his name is Lee Carroll. He's channeling an entity called Cryon.
Okay, no, I can't
No, yeah, he's very famous in Israel, but apparently not in other places. But Cryon speak about mining our cash and changing our karma. And that was for me, whenever I heard him saying that, I was like, you know, when you find the truth, every cell in your body like resonate or vibrate. Yes, yes, yes. So whenever I hear Lee Carroll channel Cryon and talk about changing karma and mining the Akash, I was like, yes, yes, we can do that. And then I was like, but how?
Yeah.
And for me, the karmic constellation is the answer.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. And I know that 2017 you opened up the Systemic Lab. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. Yeah. Now I know I was reading a little bit about what you wrote about that, and I know it's a lab that's it's kind of more to do with research. Is that correct?
yes,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And it's like investigating kind of all the spiritual soul work in history. Am I correct on that as well?
it's investigating all kinds of things that actually interest in me,
Mm-hmm.
like
Okay.
my like I'm gonna investigate, can I represent the pineal gland? You know, everyone speaks today that clearing the pineal gland and the importance of the pineal gland for our like next step.
Mm-hmm.
So can I bring something, let's say this, to represent the pineal gland and
Mm-hmm.
be my or yours pineal gland? So it's like
Yes.
taking all kinds of elements like soul essence, vows, curses, um, soul agreement, and the lab is about exploring can or can I represent,
Mm-hmm.
and if I can represent, what happens, and can I put it in my clinic, work with this later on or not?
Mm-hmm.
Like there are
Yeah.
something that I discovered that I can't work with them.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I
So
know for the pineal gland, there is there's an awful lot they do not understand about that, yet. Um, I mean, for anybody listening, it's what also we would call the third eye, you know.
yes.
Um, so yeah, but I know there's a lot that still don't understand about the pineal gland, you know. But however, it is there, and I know there's a lot of work and investigation still goes on regarding that. Um, but just touching back a little bit about the lab. Um, Now I know you do various kinds. You kind of go in with patients various kinds of trauma, but I also know you do birth trauma as well. Okay, which I thought was quite interesting. And you talk about as well how it can impact a child's behaviour. Um, so can you explain a little bit more about that as well? I mean, I have heard of this. I have heard of this, but it's nice to speak to somebody that's professional who can explain and enlighten us a little bit more about that.
So birth trauma, it has several levels. Like um, it's something I work quite a lot with because it can indicate many time about like social behavior. If you were the one that was born and things go wrong
Mm-hmm.
in the birth, maybe like your mom was about to die, so the
Mm-hmm.
infant, he feels that. So there can be afterwards, like when we are grown up, behaviors of social disconnecting or high anxiety, like birth trauma can really influence our behavior
Mm-hmm.
in the here and now. It's actually not, it's like, it's not karmic, it's quite just a trauma that haunts us and really influences us. And many people don't know about it and like go and talk about their childhood issues. And when you go to the birth, the trauma of the birth, then and you clean it, the energy, then many times things can really shift in behavioral problems. And even if you have anxiety and this is the source or one of the source, it can really reduce. And but also birth trauma can awaken past life memories. And
Interesting.
yes, and again, it can awaken all kinds of. It can awaken the relationship with the mom from past life, but it also, because if you had a traumatic birth, it's birth is so fragile between life and death. It can awaken past life that you died traumatically.
Mhm.
And then again, you go back to anxiety and all kinds of behavioral patterns that are all from your past life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And how would you deal with that?
Um, so when you work in a constellation, and for that matter, it can be family constellation or karmic constellation, you allow the field to take you there. Like, I work with the person, so constellations, all of them are working with sensation and
Hmm.
feelings, and not with what I know or think about stuff. And it's not a talk therapy.
No, no.
And so when someone will represent something, and a memory or a knowledge or an insight of, oh, it's like my birth, or something will come up, and I will ask, how was your birth? And he will say, oh, it was traumatic. Then I'll bring the birth to the field.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, it is interesting. And I know you
Yes.
deal with phobias as well, which can actually be to do with your past life. Some
Yes.
phobias, not them all, but some can be connected with your past life as well. Do you have any stories you could share about that without giving names of anybody who's perhaps came to you?
So I want to share. I actually wanted to share two stories. I'll start with me. So
Okay.
it's not that I work with phobia, but I did a lab about phobia, and this is what I found out.
Okay.
So while doing the lab about phobias, I don't have any phobias, but I do have learning disabilities.
Yes.
So, and my learning disabilities about language, like, I'm really bad in grammar in English. I'm actually bad in grammar in Hebrew. I'm bad in math. Although I'm a writer, but grammar is not my forte. So I was putting my language disabilities in the field. And the story that came up for me was that in a previous lifetime, I I was a daughter of someone in a country that they were in war, and I knew languages. So the king wanted me to translate, but my dad didn't want me to, because he knew that when I'll go out, something bad can happen to me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for me, the king want me, and we have to honor the king, and all this like teenage stuff that the king. And so I went, and it broke my father's heart, and he died.
Oh,
So for me, the neuron path was knowing languages can bring pain to your life.
yes. Yes.
So I don't want to know any language.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that was like, I never thought, I was, when I came across this experiment, I have no idea what will come up. And these stories wasn't something I was looking for.
No, of course not. No, of course not. And I'm very sorry about your father as well.
Yeah, no, it's a father from previous lifetime, not from this lifetime.
All right. Okay. Okay. Oh, I did wonder.
No, I actually ask myself, because my father from this lifetime is like he's from the state, and he raised me in English. So like, and not only that, he's like an actor and an English copywriter. So my English was supposed to be profound,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's not. And I asked in the session, is it the same dad? And it's not.
No, it's not.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I think it's
so
quite interesting though when we do talk about past lives, etc. as well. I'll come back on that in a little minute. Because it's a part of that I wanted to ask you about as well. But um, can I just say as well, you talk about the council between lives when our souls go and make choices for our
hmm
next incarnation. Okay. Now you've kind of gave a good example of that, but so basically, what what you would be meaning is in our past life we have decided um, this is the journey we're going to have in this life. Um, how then? Um, how can we change that? Because I know you don't do like past life regression, but how can we change that, or are we meant to change that?
so what I do I do regression, but in a different way, because
Yeah, yeah,
eyes
it's not the same. It's
yeah,
not the same
eyes
logic.
open, and you're here and
Yeah,
now. You're not in a deep state of meditation.
yeah.
So when we go between life to the cancel, so we choose, we choose our parents, we choose our kids, we choose our siblings, and and everyone chooses us, yes, and we choose our partners. And it's not about changing that, but it is about changing the energy. Like I had a session, I don't remember what it was about, but she felt really stuck in her life. And also in the session, nothing has shifted. So I said, okay, let's go to the cancel between life and see why you choose that. It was something with romantic relationship.
Uh-huh.
And we brought four representation, four entities in the cancel between life. And when she stood on each one of them, first of all, each one had a different energy. Like when you represent, you can feel the energy or the vibration of what you represent. So she stood on each one of them, felt the energy. Some are like infinite love, some had harsh love, some had like really white wisdom. Each one of them have a different energy. And I asked her, okay, from that energy, what is their message to you? And then they spoke with her about this is how you can help other heal your life.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly after she heard not the same message, but like the same message in four different ways, and it wasn't me saying that, she represent the council. She was the one that say that to herself. Then her mind really shift about the way she was looking at romantic relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what you can do is change the energy. And when you change the energy, you can change things within you. This is, for me, the way I see it, the healing process.
Yes. Yeah. And energy is a big thing, isn't it? It is a very powerful thing. Energy. You can even pick up other people's energy. You can pick up energy even from items. Energy is a massive source. And something
Yes.
that we have and live in day out. But it's interesting as well about the spiritual contracts with our children as well. And you know you, obviously, I mean, I've got a daughter, so obviously, maybe some point in the past life, then I've picked her to be my daughter, picked someone to be my mother or father. Some people might say, though, well, why would we pick them when, I mean, I don't, not talking about myself here, but other people maybe who have had a bad experience, why would we pick, say, that mother or father, when we went through such a bad experience with that
Hmm.
person? Why would we not just pick someone that was really, really,
A
easy
good
going?
one. Yeah, a loving one.
Yeah.
I speak about that a lot because two of my parents, like, I'm now with sort of peace with them. My father passed away 2 years ago, but even then I came to some level of peace with him. But
Hmm.
as a child,
Hmm.
like, I was emotionally abused,
Yes.
and my mom was like, she still is disconnected from her emotion, and I'm a person of emotions. So, and I lived in an unsafe environment. So
Yeah.
my childhood wasn't like loving childhood, but I wouldn't sit here today with you. I wouldn't write all my books actually, um, if I had a loving childhood.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand what you're saying. Yeah. Half the stuff that we do, we probably wouldn't have done, or went on to do what we're doing, So yeah, I can understand that. Um, Kind of similar circumstance with me, but it was more with my mother. And it was a bit of both emotional and physical, and I kind of made my peace with her as well, um, although I'm still working on some of that.
Yeah, and I think we will work on issue with our parents until we'll die because
Yeah,
we are their children, even
yeah,
if they're gone.
yeah, yeah, that's right, that's right. And it doesn't stop you from loving them either, so because there was good parts to them as well. So, and it's sometimes you got to think about that part as well there. But yeah, I thought I'd mention that because I know some people are, who are listening would be thinking um the kind of same thing,
Yes,
so
it's a common thought. When I was a child, I didn't know anything about karma or past life,
yeah,
but I remember myself in the age of 10 asking myself, why am I being punished for my life? Like, I was 10 years old.
yeah,
Why am I punished? Why do I have this toxic environment that I live in? Why do I have these parents? I suffered. And it took me lots of years to go out of this victimhood perspective, but also I needed to leave my parents' house, yes, and
hmm,
the unsafe environment that I lived in.
hmm,
And so maybe today I am thankful for my parents, but for many years they were the pain in my life. They were my miserable life, like, or they controlled my miserable life. So it takes time and work
hmm,
to gain a different perspective. I think
hmm,
I'm working on this like in the last almost 30 years. It's a day. I don't know if it's a daily work, but it's a work because whenever also we have issue with our kids, it goes back
yes,
to our parents.
that's right, that's right.
So you always work on your relationship with them.
Mhm. You're right, and I believe it is a daily working process. Because I don't think there's a day goes by without you thinking about, or it comes into your head in some aspect. It's not fully there, but maybe something you go to do or say, you think, oh, did that sound a bit like? something that would have been said to me. But I think I don't know about you, but I think in my case, I went the other way, and I was very guarded. You know, I mean, I protected my children, but I also the boundaries as well. I
Mm,
found very hard to do. So I would sit and chat to them and talk to them about things, and I kind of did it my way, and my way worked. My way
mm,
worked. So there's no need for it to be any other way. But then I do believe it's the way, perhaps, and it was different back then, the way they were brought up, as
yes.
well. And it can go down, it can actually circulate and go down a cycle, and
Yes, but
unless you break that chain there, you
yes.
know it'll continue.
And also think about that you needed to go directly the other path or way in order to raise your children different, but
Hmm.
you needed your parents as something to go away from. So
Yeah.
even that can be something, because maybe if you had like those loving parents, protecting parents, you were a lousy mom. You don't know.
Yeah. 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 I know. um but it is an interesting subject. Going back to what your lab actually covers as well. Okay, so I know you, is it biological DNA you do, is that correct?
I was exploring, and I'm still exploring DNA. It can be the biological, but we have 12 and some now say 13 layers of our DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they're all like, let's go on 12. So 11 of them are quite esoteric. They are all esoteric,
Yeah.
but the biological. So I'm really fascinated by the connection. And can I again represent them? Because it's a
Mm-hmm.
very, very esoteric concept. Um, this is something I am learning. Like, again, Lee Carroll with Cryon, they have a book, The 12 Layers of DNA. They also have a course about that.
Uh-huh.
And it's something like I delved into, I put aside because it's a really complicated and with lots of layers stuff. And now I'm passionate to come back to. This is one of
Yeah.
the reasons I'm going to study the pineal gland. It's connected also to the layers.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's like a study on progress for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that I was the activation. No, hold on, I'm not reading that right. Activation of the 24th chromosome.
Yes.
That I found interesting. Right. So the activation of the 24th chromosome, the pineal gland, which plays a significant role in activating the 24th chromosome. Okay. So I was kind of reading a bit about that. Okay, now humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, um, and like chimps and gorillas, orangutans, etc., they have 24.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which I thought was quite interesting. Um, but if we had 24 chromosomes, we usually would not survive in this world.
Chimpanzees survive.
Yeah, yeah, but for us, now what I read as well, now whether it's right or wrong, okay, some research has, and I did quite a few bits about that, research linked 24 chromosomes to miscarriages and abnormalities. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't do biology or like traditional biology. I don't
Yeah,
know. What I do know is, and
the
probably I'm doing a
DNA.
big mesh within it, but like
Yeah,
we have telemeters and chromosome, and something within the research said that we should have had 24.
Yes,
You can
that's right.
see the mark of the 24 in our body, but it
Yeah.
doesn't really exist. So the question is, where
Yeah.
is this 24
That's right.
chromosome?
That's right.
So
Yeah.
the spiritual answer is it's there,
Uh-huh.
but you can't
Yeah.
see it. You know, it's like in energetic stuff, when you do a surgery, like appendicitis surgery, or take any organs from your body, like
Mhm.
if you take the parathyroid from your body, or thyroid,
Mhm.
the energy of it stays.
Yes. Yeah.
And actually, you have those cameras that can show you that even if you took the thyroid from your throat, there is a sign of energy stay there. So the energy stays. So
Mhm.
I don't see the energies. I can sense them or
Yes,
have
that's
the
right.
knowing that they are there, but I don't see them. But there are people that
That
can
do see it.
see.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So this is, I think, how they got into. There is a 24 chromosome. We
Mhm.
just can't see it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously, sometimes in the etheric body, you can. I can sometimes see, some like a light or kind of steam coming off people.
Hmm. Yeah.
Which obviously is energy, but not with everybody, not with everyone. You know, and it's completely different from seeing spirit beside somebody. It's more,
Yes.
and it's completely different. um but yeah, I agree with you, because we are so like monkeys and gorillas. We're very associated, we're very like monkeys, if you think, um but yet there is that part of it that's missing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we are also
um
star seeds.
yes, 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 that's true. Yeah, that's true. So what, tell us a bit about the star seed then, in your perspective.
Oh, it's again something like I'm
Yes,
researching. So our
good to learn. It's good to learn.
yeah. So we have like our bio. So the way I found out, it's really interesting. It was in one of my labs. So I was researching soul the spirit family, like the soul family, and not the biological family. And there is like our DNA star seed. Like if we'll go to like what I have inherited from my mom, my dad, but it goes farther along to I don't know whom, but this is one DNA blueprint of someone. But I also have the spiritual star seed,
Yep,
and they
yep,
might not be the same.
yeah,
And
yeah,
each will bring you, and they can, so like our biological star seed, if we will connect to it, can really help us and support us in our path.
yeah,
And our
yeah,
spiritual star seed, they usually just, they really love us. They will stand beside us, but they're not doing anything.
yeah, yeah,
something like that. Like you cannot go in to them and say, "Please help me." You need to solve the stuff your own.
mhm,
And what we found in the lab, that the biological star seed, it also doesn't help you solve, but it shows you the empowering character you have within you, that you can
yes,
work with it in order to solve your problem.
yeah, yeah. So do you have quite a lot of people that come to the lab? I know you do online workshops as well, but actually physically coming to the lab, do you have a lot of people that
So
come
I
there?
do the lab twice, like in person and
Hmm.
online, because
Okay.
the people are quite various and change. And when you bring other culture, you have other questions.
Hmm.
And so I do every lab, every issue I wanted to explore in person and online. And it can be up to even one will come, I'll do the lab because I want to know.
Yes.
And even if 20 come, I do. So like it's really about, is am I interested in the subject? Does the subject resonate within me? Is it okay by time? Because I do all kinds of timing. Sometimes it will be 3 a.m. in the morning to someone, and
Yeah.
sometimes, because I work with the state, but I also work with Australia. So
Yeah, you're all over, you're globally everywhere, yeah.
yes.
So it is getting the time right there too. So if what kind of workshops then, and I was looking at them, but if you can explain more about to the listeners what kind of workshops that you do online. And I have all the contact details that will be going with this if anybody ever wanted to contact you and go on one of your workshops.
So most of my workshops are actually the lab, but I also teach karmic constellation, which it's not a workshop, it's a training.
Yes, I've seen
Um,
that. Yeah, that looks
yes,
really good. Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. Explain a bit about that, what you do with the karmic constellation.
Yes, it's about gaining. So karmic constellation, the training is about gaining a tool to work with everything that connect the soul realm, really past life, changing soul contract, changing soul lesson, and really shifting the energy that we inherit from past life and affects us in this lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And I also give the theory, and I also give the tools, and it's mind shifting and even a soul shifting. This is what my student tells me.
Yeah.
And my workshop are mainly, the lab are mainly about exploring. Um, Once in a while, I might do about money or about yeah, what holds us back. And actually, all the workshop I already facilitate, you can have it in my shop. Because everything, all the workshop I do, I put in the shop. The lab are more exploring, like I
Yeah.
explore.
Your
So
research. Yeah.
yeah, so I don't record
Yeah.
it, and it's like it's
No.
either you came and you research,
Yeah.
or no.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds very interesting, and I know you have put your own heart and soul into this as well. So,
Yes.
what's coming up for you then? What's coming up for you for 2025? Have you got things planned?
Yes, I
Or
do.
are you just
So
taking it as it comes?
no, I am a planner.
You're
I
a
don't take
planner.
it as it comes. I'm a
Yeah, good
planner.
on you. I'm the same. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not like so long, like 3 months ahead, but I
Yeah.
tried the doing by passion, and it burned me up. So I'm a planner.
Yeah. So what were you going to show me?
Yeah, so I don't have the book yet. It's like about
Yeah.
to go to print.
Karma healing. I'm
Yep,
saying here for anybody that's listening, and block your life on the soul level. That looks really good.
this is my
Really looks
book,
good. Yeah.
and published by Inner Tradition and
Uh-huh.
Findoran. And yeah, it's gonna be released on April this year.
Okay.
So this is the major stuff. Gonna be to me 2025. I'm gonna promote it and do workshop on it.
Okay. And how will people, when it does come out and it's published, how would people be able to purchase that?
So actually, it's on pre-sale already now.
Oh,
In
is it?
all, yes, in all the online. You probably won't get it until April, but you can pre-order it. In all the online shops like Amazon, Book a Million, and
Okay.
Inner
What was the name?
Tradition,
Could you just give me the name again, please? Just so as I can repeat it and also write this down.
Karma Healing.
Okay. Karma healing. Okay, that's fine. Okay, and I know
Yes.
you do have another book there as well that I meant. Oh, is that the one? Unblock the Life of the Soul Level. Yeah.
Yes.
I know. Yeah, I know you have other books though. I know you've done other books as well.
Yes, so I have a children book that's gonna be on
Yeah.
Amazon the beginning of the year 2025.
Okay.
Uh, um, it's called, I think, because we just changed the name, but something like Where Does God Lives? And it's
Yeah.
bring about like God is everywhere in nature, but also in our sensations and feelings. And we are God, God is within us.
Mhm.
So it's like, it's a book I wrote 70 years ago, 17 years ago, for my
Yeah.
kid, because I
Okay.
want him to have a healthy perspective of God and not this punishing God up on the sky, in the sky.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I wrote it to him. I published it in Israel, and I feel like now it's the time to go on in English, and so that will be only on Amazon.
Okay, that sounds very good as well. I
Yeah.
like what you say as well. It's the loving God, you know, the God of wisdom, the God that's around us, who does love and care for us, but not the punishing God as some of the
Yes.
religions
And not
embrace.
only that he's a loving God, he is us. We are God.
Yes,
He's within
that's right.
us.
Yeah, that's why it's so important that we keep in the light,
Yes.
of our world and the love and the light of our world. It's so
Exactly.
important that we keep on that track. But yeah, that I mean that's great. You've got a lot coming up, and we're very close to coming to the end of our chat.
Hmm.
Before we enclose, I would like to also say to you that I think what you're doing is amazing.
Thank
I
you.
feel that you're doing it from your heart and your soul's guiding you, and it's also to enlighten and help other people understand as well. There is more to life. There is life after life. There has been previous lives as well,
Yes.
and it does all interconnect into the life that we live here and now. So you're a perfect prime example of what you're doing with that. So it's amazing, and thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you for
but
hosting me.
no, you're fine. Before I conclude as well, I just wanted to say to the listeners as well, all the information will be all written down. Okay, so anybody will be able to contact you because I have all your contact details there as well. So coming up for me, I have the Arden Cable Hotel on Wednesday. It's a Christmas mediumship and psychic night, and this will be our last one for the end of the year. And it will be with our psychic and medium Elaine Claire Harris O'Neill. And the doors open at 7 o'clock and it starts at 7:30. There will be some competitions and raffle prizes. So please come along, and tickets are at the door. So it'll be a great night. I'm looking forward to that very much. And we are also having an online Sparkle of Light Christmas evening podcast show. And the proceeds will be going to Tribe Animal Sanctuary Scotland.
Wow.
TASS, TASS, and they are on Facebook if anyone wants to look them up. They do an amazing job for the animals and have rescued animals, saved them from their own death, and I think what they do is amazing. So please read up on that. So the proceeds will be going to that, and we will be having this on the 17th of December, 7 o'clock till 9, and we will be having multiple guests from England, Scotland, Ireland, and also United States of America as well. So it will be a great evening. What I ask though is we have only now 3 spaces left. So if you want to come on to the show You don't have to be on camera, but if you want to be, it would be great, to see your smiley faces, and be on the camera and receive also readings from all of these mediums who will be on that day or night, whatever the time zone is to you. And it is free. It's only a donation if you want to make a donation. There is no pressure to make the donation, but it's just suggested, that's all. But it is free, and you will receive readings from these mediums as they come on in their time slots. So three spaces left. So it'll be first come, first serve, whoever the three spaces are left who wishes to join on that night. And yeah, and so that's me. That's really me. If you want to also watch this again, we are on YouTube channel, the Sparkle of Light Spiritual Chat Show. And please like and subscribe. It's free and it helps us grow as well as a podcast. And also, you'll be able to see this on Spotify on Thursday, this Thursday, 8 p.m. So, again, subscribe to our podcast channel as well. Again, it's free. So, we ask you to do that. Just your generosity, just tick a couple of boxes and watch some of the shows that we have already done, because we're on season 4, episode
Wow.
7, I think now. So yeah, so it's good to be able to actually speak to like yourself, Yael, as well. All these different guests that come on with their different experiences, their different perspectives on things too. And I would like to thank you dearly for being on here. It's been great to meet you, and I'm sure we will meet again in the future at some point as well. Okay.
It was lovely. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I'd like to wish all you listeners as well out there a lovely day or evening wherever you are. And Yale, I won't see you again before Christmas, but please have a lovely, peaceful, and loving Christmas and a
Thank you.
very blessed New Year as well.
Thank you.
Okay,
You
so
too.
I would, thank you. So I would like to just say goodbye, take care, and look after yourselves and each other.
Bye.